What up, folks? Welcome to the Autofocus podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Dan.
And this is episode number 13, lucky number 13. Tonight's episode's it's a long topic, man. I mean, it's definitely probably a two-part video, maybe three-part video, but we'll just cover the basics. We're talking about photo and video programs and what Dan and I use, or maybe like what else is in the industry.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, do you want to start with maybe photos? Because that's what photo programs, like Lightroom, Photoshop.
Yeah, I'm down to talk about like Adobe products and Photoshop and Lightroom and things you'd use for that. First, we'll start with, sorry, there's been a little gap in the episodes. Dan and I have been super busy in our personal lives, but we're back at it. We're definitely getting something, going to get back into at least trying to get 2 episodes a week. But first of all, follow us on YouTube, Facebook for video platforms, audio listeners, audio, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Apple Podcast. Yeah. All right. Let's roll. So, yeah, I, just because of my background, I know a little bit more about photography than video. I've been a big Adobe guy for years. I mean, it's pretty much what I've always used unless I was like in a pinch. I guess I'd start out with like, I'd ask you the question, like what
did you start out with
ahead.
Photoshop? Did you start out editing your photos in Photoshop?
Yeah. Yeah, I did, only because I knew Photoshop. Back in school, I would just like import whatever photos I took into Photoshop. But originally I used Adobe Bridge. You ever use Bridge?
Oh, a couple times. Yeah. Yep.
And it was really designed to like organize your photos more so than it was to edit your photos. So I used Bridge to like import everything, and then I would just go and grab my photos or whatever ones I wanted in Photoshop. But when we first started doing photo and stuff, dude, it wasn't as like heavy. Like you didn't edit your photos like people do today.
Right.
You know, Photoshop was primarily used to like modify something or like, you know, create like an ad for something. Like there weren't hundreds of different programs to use like there are now.
Yeah. I do love Photoshop with the fact that you can just do anything. You know, whatever you can think of, you can make happen.
Yeah, man, I know a ton about the Adobe products. A lot of it is because I did a lot of it when I worked at that print company for a while. So like I was doing it 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. Photoshop's great. I love Photoshop. It's definitely more for like editing particular like single images. Whereas today you and I use Lightroom for that stuff because you can like batch edit and organize and like apply presets, your own presets, other people's presets. So Photoshop's definitely more of like a single image edit. So like if you wanted to remove a sign from an image, or you were, you know, modifying somebody's face, or, you know, just messing around or whatever. I mean, that, and like people these days, there's so many Adobe products, or just like drawing programs. Like I can draw like with a digital pen in Photoshop. I probably know Photoshop best out of all those products.
It's so good, you know.
Dan calls me all the time for like, how do I do this? How do I do that?
But the funniest thing is, you talk me through it just on the phone. You're not even looking at my screen. You don't even have a screen in front of you, and it blows me away. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, some of that comes with the fact that I used to do some like phone, like IT stuff. So we used to do some like tech support for like architecture programs. So I'd have a computer in front of me, and somebody would call up and be like, "Hey, how do I do this?" And that was my job for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of way. I guess I again did it in a professional world, so it's easier for me to like walk somebody through how to do something like that on the phone. But
yeah. Now, were you excited when Lightroom came out, just because it's a little bit easier than jumping into Photoshop?
I didn't really use it, to be honest. When it first came out, I think you pushed me into using it. Yeah. I think I just
so quick and easy to make your quick changes.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm glad you did, because now I use it more than Photoshop from a photography perspective. Yeah, it's way easier to adjust, like, everything from exposure to white balance. It's just like super quick. Like I can edit an image in 10 minutes and it can be like,
Yeah.
from start to finish. You can go in and out of Photoshop. Like say you did something and there's a street sign in the way and you just want to quickly get rid of it. You literally can click like import into Photoshop and it'll automatically open up Photoshop, and then you just save it and it automatically imports back into Lightroom. Like,
and so that's the good thing about Adobe is, right,
it's integrated,
compatible. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super efficient. Yeah, I love Lightroom. I mean, I definitely, if I've got to do some like modifications, sometimes I'm probably handicapped because I know Photoshop better. So like recently I learned how to like use a gradient, but then use like I think it's luminosity or something like that. So that say I run a gradient, let's just say on my face right here, and I just want to like darken the background. You can make it so that it can try to pick out and cut out your body shape so that the gradient doesn't like cover that portion. So
right, it's like a mask.
Yeah, it's a mask, but it's like quicker in Lightroom. But back for me, I could do that in Photoshop in seconds. Like it'd take me seconds to do that. So like I'm still learning Lightroom. I'm not as proficient at it, but I love it. I mean, it's definitely for, you go out and you take photos for the day or an hour or whatever, you come back and like I can process, 30 images in an hour or whatever it is. Which is fun. Or like batch editing. I'm super psyched. So Sunday we've got our first car show finally.
Oh, nice.
Because of COVID, we've been like, postpone canceling them, but we've got one on Sunday. So I'll take 1,200 pictures at that event, and like probably 400 of them I'll put up on social media just so that, people car owners and stuff can take them, and, it promotes the event and stuff like that. But if it wasn't for Lightroom, there's no like, they'd be raw files or they'd be JPEG straight out of camera.
No way you do all of it. In
I can like quickly put a watermark on it. I can quickly put a light edit on it. I can quickly make sure that, if I underexpose like an interior or the skies are blown out, I can quickly edit it. I have a couple presets that I like based on weather and because I've shot in the environment before, like I just label it cars and coffee, like sunny, cars and coffee, shade, and instantly edits everything, and it's like super fast. So I can process 300 images in like a half hour. It takes longer sometimes for the computer to export than it does for me to process all that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. I like Lightroom. I mean, it has its limitations. Again, it's just to modify the image as far as like its overall aesthetic. You don't really do any like heavy editing in it from a photo perspective.
Now, what do you think about when Adobe made their switch and started going with a subscription-based package?
So, truthfully, when I worked for an architect, like we had all the Adobe products. When I was just on my own, I like would just pirate something and then use it like for myself. But now that I'm a subscriber, and I have been for like over a year now, 2 years probably. I love it because now I have access to all of their stuff. Whereas before it was like, oh, I might have had a version of Photoshop or Lightroom, or when they updated, I didn't get the most up to date. So now it costs me like $60 a year and I have everything. And we talked about this. I like bought it at a discounted rate or whatever.
I was all fired up, but then I went back and I think I saw, and it was, I think I'm paying like $24 a month or something.
Yeah, that's cheap
for everything. Yeah.
It's like to have access to like, today's most up to date technology, and like that's great. I mean, especially when there's updates that like new features. I mean, one of the features that I recently, because I got like a tablet to draw, is like they updated one of the features, just like the way the pen flows through Photoshop and stuff like that. And you can modify. It's crazy. Like you can make it look like you're painting with this thing. Like it's a lot of people probably go, well, you should just bought an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil, which I probably should.
Tell you, the iPad Pro is the best thing I've ever bought, and I know you don't like it, but to have Photoshop now on the iPad,
I hate it.
Sick.
I absolutely hate it. I don't know why. I just like a keyboard and a mouse, and I know you can pair a keyboard and a mouse to your iPad Pro.
Right.
I just
know it's definitely not the same on the iPad as the computer. There's not as many features, but it's just very cool that you can do it from your iPad now.
It is super cool. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, how much are you actually doing on your iPad? Like if it's a really intense edit, dude, you've got to do it on a computer.
Right. Oh, I don't even like bringing my photos into Lightroom on my iPad.
Dude, there's people.
It's only if I'm deleting something or doing something like that.
Yeah, there's people that are going straight iPad Pro.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
video and photo. Dude, I could never do that. I shouldn't say never. Right now I can't do that.
Yeah. I tried editing video on my iPad, and it was good, but it's and the software that is being used is amazing. I forget what it's called.
Well, you mean Premiere?
No, on the iPad. I'm gonna look it up right now, but it's unbelievable, like what you can do. LumaFusion.
Oh yeah, that stuff's cool.
So, and it's only $20 for the app, but the things you can do, it's unreal. But then again, just like you said, you have the mouse and the keyboard.
There's limitations, man.
I can't use the pen and pick things. I have to use the mouse because it's so much better.
You know what I don't? Part of what I don't like. Here's the thing. The reason I bought a tablet for Photoshop is, let's just say I take a picture of you and I really want to cut you out. The pen is great for that. Now there's a learning curve because I'm drawing down on the table, right? But I'm looking at my, so it is hard, and like it becomes muscle memory on how to do it. So an iPad would be great for that because I can just physically go to my iPad, right, and just trace you out. But everything else, when I tried it, you're covering up what you're working on. So if my hand's over the iPad, I really just don't like I can't see everything. I don't know where I'm headed. So there's a learning curve. I'm sure I'd get used to it, but I'm just pretty proficient at it now. So, people don't like change, and I guess I'm one of them too.
Right, that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't like change. I should progress, but it's all good. Again, it's a hobby for me. I mean, I love Illustrator. We've had this conversation. Like, I'm also the two Adobe products that I'm pretty phenomenal at are Photoshop and Illustrator. Illustrator is a vector-based program, so traditionally it's done for a lot more like marketing or advertising stuff, or you can draw in Illustrator as well. It can be blown up. You can blow things up the size of billboards. You have to use Photoshop and Illustrator together because Illustrator is not an image editor. It's more of a creation, like a ad creator or a file image creator. So you type demo in photography, and it's vector based. So Photoshop is I don't know what the right term is, but it's like pixel based. So say I set my dots per inch at 300 for printing or whatever, and you zoom in, you'll be able to see the individual pixels of like the words that you're typing. Whereas Illustrator is vector based, so I can zoom in infinitely, and like it'll never get pixelated. So it's just a crisper thing. But yeah, no, I love Illustrator. Like all the ads I do for our Cars and Coffee and for work, everything for the furniture store I do with Illustrator pretty much. Recently you got into InDesign though.
InDesign. And I absolutely love it. I love InDesign. It took me a minute to kind of get used to it. But I stuck with it, and I'm on it almost every day. I love it.
Yeah, InDesign's great. It's definitely more of a layout-based product,
Yeah.
so a lot of text, like what they call typesetting. So, you create a menu or business cards
and that's how I got
or
into
postcards,
it, yeah.
right?
In the menus.
It's kind of, for me, I flip a coin, so it depends what I'm creating. For me, I prefer Illustrator because you can do most of what you can do if you're doing like single-page stuff in Illustrator versus InDesign. I don't think.
So the other thing though is when you create another page in Illustrator, it creates a whole new tab. InDesign just scrolls.
So
right
here's
down,
the
so
thing.
It's almost like a book.
If you were creating a magazine, you would, or like a portfolio of photography, or a trifold brochure, InDesign is the way to go. It will set the pages up. It'll show you how it's going to print. You can do like cover pages. Table of contents. It shows you all the pages on the right-hand side. It's more of a book layout program, or it's powerful stuff. I mean, Adobe's done a phenomenal job.
I was going to say, they're killing it. With everything they do.
They do a good product.
I will say it's buggy. There's a lot of bugs with Premiere if we want to get into the video side of it.
Yeah, let's do video last because you're more knowledgeable on that. Yeah, it's more buggy, but it's more buggy running on a Mac. But we'll get to that. That's a little teaser. Yeah. We'll get to that. Yeah, Adobe's got unbelievable. I mean, you can design websites with Adobe products. Now they've got dozens of phone apps and iPad apps. I mean, on Riley's iPad, my son's iPad, we put a drawing app because we have an Apple Pencil, and like he can draw. He's just like intuitive, right? So he can just draw. Like he drew a house, like a little, flat 2-dimensional like house. Like picked his color, his brush. I mean, he's 5 years old. It's like,
what are you using to draw?
I think it was Fresco.
Oh, okay. My kids do the same thing, but they use Procreate.
No, we don't use Procreate, but Fresco, because Procreate's an Apple product.
Is it? Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm not 100% sure because I don't own it, but I think that's an Apple product. Yeah, I think Fresco. It's like that's an Adobe product because I'm a subscriber, right? I just log into my account and I can download whatever. And then there's another one that I think is like Pixel or Pixa. They're almost identical. They're vector-based drawing. So again, you can scale everything out. I do draw on that a little bit just for like fun. Like I try to draw like a picture of him, but the shading and stuff like that is fun. It's cool. I still don't think I can draw like more of an interior architecture drawer just because of my background. I can't really draw people that well. I still prefer like a pencil or charcoal because it's like
100%.
Because there's like
I grab a pencil and paper every time.
Because there's like there's like feedback, right? So you draw like a charcoal or graphite pencil, right? It's like you can feel the texture and you can feel the pressure you're applying. Like you don't get that sensory feel when you draw on iPad. It's like glass on plastic, and it's just like a weird.
It is weird.
It's weird.
Now I know they do have screen covers that make it seem like paper, and I was gonna get one, but yeah.
I don't think it's worth it. I mean, again, I'm just a hobbyist I just like to draw for fun. I like keep a little like moleskin like notebook that I just like sketch in and stuff like that. But there's no. I don't think there's a replacement for pen and paper or pencil and paper.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
Now the one good thing too with Adobe is, especially with people using their tablets and their computers at home, if you edit something on your computer, you can then jump onto your tablet, if you're doing something else, and you can pull up the same file with all the all the changes and do whatever.
Right. So it doesn't even have to be a Mac product, which is cool. So like I run a Google phone, I use a Mac. So say like my Lightroom sync. So anything that I save to the cloud, which I actually save 0 to the cloud. Don't ask me why, but unless I know it's gonna go on my phone, I'll save it to the cloud and then I'll just grab it on my phone and I can continue editing it. I will say in quick nitty-gritty situations, let's say I go out and I take a photo and I'm like, man, I really want to see what that looks like. I'll use the like Wi-Fi on my camera, zip it to my phone, and then open up Lightroom on my phone and edit it here. And like it's pretty good. The problem I have is like screen phones are so oversaturated. I can't tell the color profiles and stuff on them. And like, did I over edit that? Like on my computer, I can tell. I turn my brightness way down, and like, I've got a process in place on how so I don't over edit it or don't oversaturate it. So. But again, it's just learning curve and like getting used to different platforms and stuff like that. How about non-Adobe products? I mean, the Mac like photo editing like software is, if you're like starting out, don't invest in like. I don't think you should invest in
now.
it.
It's not even an investment because it's $10
you're right.
a month. You're
right.
Lightroom.
It is super cheap.
Right.
I guess you're right. So
back in the day, it was a.
So you're saying there's no all these other companies should just give up. Anybody that's got the dream of creating a Photoshop or a Lightroom alternative, just give up. You're done.
Yeah, it's already done.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Adobe's just massive, and they're always updating. It's a great platform. Lightroom's so easy if you're just doing photo.
Yeah.
I really don't believe there's an easier.
You're probably right, man. You're probably right. The only thing that I don't love about most of these like photo and even the video aspect of it, and maybe this is more of a computer setup system than it is the Adobe problem, is like I keep all my stuff on a external hard drive, right? When I import it into I put it on my hard drive, I import it into Lightroom, and if I move the file on my hard drive, right, it's like Lightroom
missing.
Lightroom can't find it. And then I have to manually go and find it. I wish that that's something that they would work on. If there was a way to structure, like I don't want to have to import it. Like if I could just point to where the file is in the computer, That way, like, I don't know. There's got to be a better way to do that. And maybe, I mean, maybe a software engineer could explain to me why that's not possible or something. But that it's frustrating from a consumer perspective.
See, this is why you know a little bit about everything, is because you said maybe a software engineer can let me further know what is happening.
Right. Like, I want to know. I can just tell you that I'm complaining that the file structure within Lightroom, and maybe it's my own fault. Maybe I just haven't done enough research to like figure out the best way to set my computer up with Lightroom. But I'm pretty organized. Like, I could go back to 2014 in the month of August and find whatever photo I shot that month. And the date that I shot it. But so I just feel like it doesn't flow well. Maybe just with the way I work, but that's my one complaint.
No,
I would think.
I know
Lightroom.
exactly what you're talking about. It's happened to me.
Yeah.
When you move files and you have to relink it all, and yeah, it sucks.
Well, so like and I dread this every year. So like I've got a 2020 folder on my computer. So basically, I can shoot enough photos and keep them on my computer for the year that I'm in, that I don't have to put them onto an external hard drive. And then the following year, like December, January of whatever, I'll move it to the hard drive, because chances are like those photos aren't old, but like I just don't need access to them all the time.
Yeah.
And I can't, like, I don't know. I'm going to have to go and point each folder in Lightroom to make sure I can still edit those at some point. Because like I go back all the time. Like, we could be talking about a photo and I want to bring it up in the podcast and give it to you so you can put it in the edit, right? And it's like, I have to, if I want to edit it a little bit or get rid of my watermark, in order for Lightroom to find it, if I moved it, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's all good. It'll work out.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about video. We both started with Final Cut Pro from high school. Yep. Great product. I mean, full cinema movies are straight up edited on like that platform.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved Final Cut. I actually have nothing bad to say about Final Cut. Then I had to use Premiere for my work, and now I use Premiere. Final Cut runs better on a Mac because it's an Apple product.
Right.
But you know, a lot of people have issues with Premiere shutting down and whatever. I've had a couple of those issues, but it doesn't happen all the time, so I'm not like forced out of it yet.
So at work, did you guys run Mac or PC?
We ran Macs.
And they still use Premiere. So I don't do it.
So he was using Premiere before I got there. So
Right.
everything, and it was all like linked up. So yeah, I had to learn Premiere.
Right. And we've had this conversation before. Final Cut for 90% of people, and even 90% of what we do is fine. You like marketing stuff, like basic dialogue. Even in this, like, you're just switching the video back and forth. You're maybe putting the logo up here in the corner. You might do a little color correction, exposure correction. Other than that, that's all you're doing. Final Cut's perfect for that. The thing that you can do in Premiere is you can really edit and mask things out much easier. Final Cut, you need to get like modules a lot of times, or like, what do they call them? Like plugins.
Yeah. Final Cut does have a lot of plugins, but I think you can mask out. You can do a lot. I think it's just a different way now that, you know, Premiere does it one way, Final Cut does it another. But
right.
Final Cut's very powerful. I do believe that Premiere is more powerful, but
so,
you know, it is.
We had this conversation probably a month and a half ago. I straight up deleted Final Cut from my computer.
Yeah.
I went, I'm learning Premiere. Any video that I edit for work or personal, I'm going to do it in Premiere. I'm just going to force myself to learn it. And then it gives me then I can pick and choose which one I like the best. I'm not like handicapping myself just because I only know Final Cut.
But the thing is, I mean, that's great that you deleted it, because if you were frustrated, you would always, I'll just go back to Final Cut and edit.
I'm in a rush. I'm just going to figure out how to do it.
Exactly.
And especially with work, because a lot of times if we come up with a marketing idea, we're trying to execute it as quickly as possible. This way I'm forcing myself to just do it. Just figure it out. Google it, YouTube it, call you, figure out whatever I need to do. You know, that's the way to do it for sure. It's a way to learn something. Just dive in, man. Force yourself to do something.
Anything, I will say, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Final Cut has to have this now, but when Premiere came out with their audio, you can sync the file with the video. Like if you have a separate audio file with your video file, you don't have to sit there and line up the words and make sure everything's right. You just synchronize it,
Dude,
or sync it, and it does it automatically, which is great.
Final Cut does it, but it's not perfect.
It's not good. Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad, but I could tell a difference. So, I just started getting into like using an external recorder, and like I would do it, and then at the end of the video, and it was only like a minute and a half video, I could like see that the voices weren't perfectly lined up with the audio, and I'm like, man, that's real. Like it's just distracting watching it. It's just like distracting. So like then I had to go in there and manually edit it, which wasn't that big of a deal, but it pissed me off that it wasn't perfect. I was just like, why isn't that perfect? Like but
now, and I will say too, just like you were talking about the photos, going back and forth to different programs, when I'm editing in Premiere, I can jump over to After Effects and do some stuff. And when I come right back to Premiere, it's already all done.
See, that's a program I need to learn.
After Effects?
Dude,
very confusing. Yeah.
It's confusing. I know Adobe, so it's like some of the tools are the same, but the stuff that you can do with a video,
that's like Photoshop for video.
Dude, so the first time I saw After Effects, like I'd heard the name of it, was I was watching a video on Peter McKinnon, and he had done a title in the video in Iceland where it zoomed in and over the like plane or something like that, and I was just like, wait, that looked like it was done like in the camera. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna force once after I learn Premiere, and I'm proficient enough, I'm gonna learn After Effects.
Yeah, After Effects is crazy. I tried learning it at work, and I know it a little bit, but it is
there's a lot
very difficult. Again, like you said, like I didn't force myself to learn it.
Right, and that's when you go, I'll just figure it. I'll do it later or whatever.
Yeah.
So you were talking about being able to switch. So like taking a clip from Premiere, importing it into After Effects, and it's seamless, right? So it just like
it works perfect.
You're not like closing one, saving the file, exporting it as a .mv4 file or whatever it is, and then jumping back and going into After Effects and then exporting it and then importing it back in. Like thing,
just
works.
You can always make changes too, and then it will automatically
update
sync it to what it is. Yeah, you can automatically update. But same with Audition, with audio. If you're doing any audio work, same exact thing. You finish your video, then you bring it over to Audition.
Right.
Do all your stuff, and then when you leave Audition,
it's just
you save it, and it's just
perfect.
Put right into Premiere, and it works really well for a lot of programs.
So basically what we're telling everybody is, there's no other company out there. Adobe is the only way to go.
I know, we're really kissing ass.
I know. Maybe we get sponsored one day by Adobe. That'd be pretty cool. Like we just want two separate subscriptions.
Right, yeah.
That's all we need as like a sponsor.
$10 off.
Yeah, we'll take a 50% discount. We'll plug you every episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even that expensive. I think just for Lightroom and Photoshop, it's like $10 a month. And then if you want everything, it's like $24.
Yeah, it's super reasonable. And I think for the amount of money that's gone into like developing those, I mean, they've now been, I'm sure 20 years. I mean, I don't know when Adobe started, but years. Yeah, man, I think they've got the right business model, that reoccurring monthly thing, because here's the thing.
Oh yeah.
If I spend, let's say now, a good job, if I wanted to go and buy all this stuff, I could have gone and spent $1,000. It's an investment on like the package, right? The suite. But then I would have used that for 10 years or I wouldn't have updated at that point. Like I would have just used it, spent the $1,000. But now they've got me hooked into this monthly subscription. Let's just say it's $20 a month, $120 a year. As things and features get added, maybe it costs me another $5 a month or whatever. They're just generating revenue from that, and I'm not going to cancel it. It's $25 a month. Like what?
And exactly.
What's the big
so
deal?
It was a great business plan on their part, because not only it's so cheap to just I'm going to forget about it. You're just paying $20, but they also got so many new customers,
right?
Because someone who wants to edit photos isn't going to pay
a college student, right?
For Photoshop,
but they will pay $10.
But they will pay, exactly,
right?
Yeah. So it was a great move on their part.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the gym membership or the Planet Fitness membership, right?
Yeah.
It's $10 a month.
Thing.
I hate the gym, but for $10 a month, I just have the membership. I mean, I don't really have the membership, but you know what I mean.
But people will even say like, oh, well, I have a Planet Fitness membership, but you haven't been in the last year.
I don't work out. I haven't gone on 6 months, right?
Exactly. Doing the same thing, drinking a soda.
Right.
Yeah. So, but people, it's so cheap, but people feel almost like proud to be like, oh yeah, I have a gym
Oh yeah,
membership. You
yeah,
know?
and it's so it's like for $10 a month, people just that's free. That's free money. It's nothing. It doesn't cost
Yeah.
you anything.
They bank on people not coming.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So yeah, yeah, that was a good move by them. And it make it create even me like because I would have only bought the photo aspect of that suite. I wouldn't
Right.
have bought the video aspect of it, and I probably would have.
Yep.
Again, I would have handicapped myself because I would never would have learned that stuff, and I would have had to struggle through trying to figure out how. What programs to use or hey, can I borrow yours or whatever. So again, it
Yep.
was a good move with them. Premiere's, it's been good. I haven't done a ton of video stuff, but I haven't thrown my computer yet or thrown anything across the room because I could figure it out. It's pretty intuitive.
Yeah.
And there's enough stuff on YouTube. You can figure all that stuff
Oh yeah.
out. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
Now, yeah, I mean, I know some people who use DaVinci Resolve. I've never used it,
I've heard of
but
it,
that's
but
what
I
a
don't,
lot of movies get created on
I
too.
don't know
Is
much
DaVinci
about
Resolve.
it.
Yeah. You can do the color grading and everything you can do on DaVinci is just next level compared to like Premiere and Final Cut. For most videos and things that we're doing is you don't need to go
Yeah,
to the extreme, but
Yeah, shooting in like we shoot like S log, but I mean for the
I
basic
love shooting flat.
yeah. Once the first episode we did, I didn't even think to put my camera in like S. It makes such a difference. I really
Yeah.
too. I wonder if I should start shooting flat like photos. Do you shoot when you shoot photos? Do you shoot flat or do you still shoot like a standard profile?
I usually it's been a while since I looked at my camera settings, but I usually will go in and take away the saturation and the contrast and all that. Yeah.
Dude, you know what? When I switched from Nikon to Sony about a year ago, I didn't forget, but I used to shoot flat on the Nikon, but I
Yeah.
got the Sony, I stopped.
Sony's are very contrasty
They're
too.
super contrasty and saturated.
Yeah.
I think I might, starting today actually, I think I'm going to force myself, even when I do the car stuff on Sunday, I hope I don't screw myself here. I'm gonna have to color
You'll be spending
correct,
so
like,
much more time
oh my
doing all of
god,
that.
it's gonna kill me. But
But the good thing too is
it's
when
so
you do
easy to
that,
add saturation.
Yeah, just-
super easy. Like
right.
literally.
Well, but even if you're going one by one, if a lot of your shots are the same too, you can just copy and paste, your edit and then make little changes.
Yeah, just batch edit. So yeah, I'm gonna create a custom profile. I think on my camera, just like desaturate, just like a little bit.
Yeah,
For Sunday's photo shoot for sure. Yeah, that'll be fun.
that's awesome. I wish I could be there.
I mean, you're welcome to come if you've time, but we've been so busy.
I'll be in Miami.
Oh Jesus! Oh dude, we had
a
to
rough
cancel.
life.
I just found out today we canceled our trip to Lake Powell.
Oh man.
I'm so bummed.
That sucks.
I know because I
Yeah.
was so psyched to go. My dad's
Now, didn't they rent a house or
we
a
rented
boathouse
two.
or something?
Yeah, we rented 2 houseboats, and like my dad's he's a cancer survivor, so like he's a high risk, and like we just
Yeah.
they're in Florida, and Arizona's like a hot spot, so like we're just
Dude, Florida's a hot spot.
well, that's what I'm saying. So he doesn't want to like fly and go to Miami and have to go to the airport
gotcha.
because he's in like Palm
Yeah.
Beach, but he's like he's in a neighborhood and they're pretty safe. So unfortunately, we canceled. I'm so fucking bummed. Like it's just
Yeah.
from a photography, I was going to be able to fish all week and hike and like it sucks. I'm bumming on it, but it's all good. We'll plan something else. But
Yeah.
yeah. So it sucks. But I don't know. When are you leaving for Miami?
We're leaving Saturday. We
Nice.
come back Monday. Yeah.
Sweet. All right,
Yeah.
that was a good episode. Anything you want to add about like programs or Adobe? I mean, we talked pretty much primarily Adobe the entire time. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really, that's all I use now just because it's so easy. But, if there's anyone, that uses something else,
Yeah, let us
feel
know,
free
man.
to comment. And yeah, I love having those discussions. But no, I mean, Adobe's great.
yeah, for sure.
Great product.
And the other thing too, for people that are not into photo and video but want to get into it and just use your phone, you can download Adobe products on your phone, some of them for free. Like it doesn't cost you anything. Like,
Yeah.
Like I think you can get Lightroom on your phone at no charge, and you have almost 80% of control that you have on a computer, like exposure and masking and like stuff like that. So check out Adobe Lightroom on your phone if you are just like curious about photography.
Yeah, definitely.
And even most iPhone users, like iMovie on a phone is pretty powerful. Like You can
Yeah.
you can cut in video and shorten clips and stuff like that. So, if anything, if we can inspire somebody to get into photo and video, like just do it. Just get on your phone and do it. It doesn't cost you anything. You already have a cell phone.
Yeah,
So
I would say too a lot of people just throw on filters now just because it's so easy.
it is super easy.
They don't want to edit, but
You're probably
yeah.
right. We're odd. We're weird that we're into photo and video, but all right, cool. So it's a good episode 13. Thank you everyone for listening. Please give us any input. We'd love to get some comments on some of these videos, and share it. Like if you've got friends and family that you think might be into it, like, toss the link, send them the link, see if they're into it. We'd love to have a guest on too. Maybe
I was just about to say that. Yeah, especially if you're into video or photography or anything, you want to jump on, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be fun. So, thank you for listening to Autofocus Podcast. I'm Scott.
And I'm Dan.
And everyone have a great night. Later.